Hello there. My name is Colton, and this is a video overview of a mod pack for Quake 1 that I'm developing called CPQ. CPQ is a mod dedicated to giving mappers a new set of tools for complex logic in their maps that is both easy to use and extremely versatile. CPQ is compatible with modern source ports including QuakeSpasm, v0.2 Quake, and others, but has not yet been tested on the re-release. In the first part of this video, I'll be playing through a beta version of a CPQ map called Showcase that is specifically engineered to show off how a mapper might use the features of CPQ to enhance their map. The second part of this video will get into the details of CPQ, with a brief overview of the system, followed by an examination of each logic element in the Showcase map, explaining how each of them were set up within the CPQ framework. Alright, so here we are in the CPQ Showcase map. This part is not scripted, so I'm just going to kind of talk as I play through. I definitely have some things that I want to talk about and identify, but this will be a fairly casual playthrough of the map. I am going to hit all the secrets and all the logic elements just because that's what the whole point of this is to show off how the map plays and how these logic elements could be used in your maps or the maps of other creators. So I also want to give the caveat that this map wasn't built to be an extended play session. It's about 10 minutes or so if you were to play it for the first time, maybe a bit longer if you were trying to find all the secrets. It was really more made to show the pieces of CPQ. So to that effect, let's kind of walk through it. In the Showcase map, I've put these little consoles, and I'm going to look at each of them. The idea is that they'll each give you kind of a hint as to what to do for that particular piece. So we're here in what looks like a spaceship, or supposed to look like a spaceship. Because this was not intended to be a fully fleshed out single player map, there's definitely a lot more brushwork that could have gone into it, so it's considered a very rough layout. Anyway, we have the helm of a spaceship here, and we're told that we can't initiate jump until the mission is completed. So how do we complete the mission? Let's find out. Let's read this console here. Slipgate targeting. Use the buttons in front of the map display to adjust the position of the slipgate target. Then lock it in with this button. And then it mentions the other consoles for tips. So we have this map display here and these buttons, and we'll kind of play with these. And I'm going to do this for each part of the map, just so you can kind of see how it works. And then we'll talk about how it adds progress, and then in the second half of the video, I'll actually go into Trench Broom and show how these were all set up. So we have these buttons here, and they will move the target up and down, left and right on the map. And we have an obvious target that we can hit there. And if we kind of follow the brushwork, we can see that this kind of matches up with this dark teleporter here. So we're currently on 6C. Try and press the button. It says invalid coordinates. Okay, let's match it up with the X that's on there. Press the button. Teleporter lights up. Says that the coordinates are locked in. And here we are. We teleported. So we have a big kind of sprawling base entrance here. A bunch of grunts and enforcers. We'll take care of them and then we'll start looking around. Need some more shells. So the architecture for this was initially going to be a much bigger map that I was going to do for a showcase, but I wanted to get it out the door and get people kind of thinking about CPQ, so I trimmed big chunks of it. But this is the entrance to it. We've got a landslide here and some broken lights. The dominating piece here is this door, and we have a console here that will help explain it. Under pressure. Use the two pumps to increase hydraulic pressure to the door until it is sufficient to open. Remember that the pressure will slowly leak from the pumps. So we see here we have two buttons. We can't currently access them. So let's find a way to open them. I'm going to focus on the main progression pieces, and then we'll talk about these kind of side elements a little bit later. So we'll go up here. A question. how would a lumberjack handle a stuck button? So we have this button here. We know it's a button because we shoot it and get the little blood spatter. Shooting it doesn't seem to do anything. A lumberjack would be an axe. Let's axe it a few times. That worked. So I'm going to start noting the kinds of things that we've seen CPQ do so far. So in the map room at the beginning, we saw the ability to move a target around and change how a teleporter behaved based off of the position of that target. Here, we were detecting the weapon used for a button and doing something with it. And we'll kind of keep calling those out as we see more. We have our other button here. So let's look at what this button does. So as we press it, the gauge in front of us goes up, and the gauge over the door goes up. But the gauge in front of us is about full, but the gauge over the door is only halfway full. So this is only half the solution. So we need the other button up, or we need access to the other button. So an answer: on the platform, face this console and look up for advice. Some of these are a little cheeky, as if I were, you could make them a little more cryptic, but I wanted for people to be able to use them. So here we're being told to look up. I'm going to look up everywhere that I'm not supposed to, just to show that there's nothing happening. Looking up here, nothing's happening. I will face that console and look up. And the door opens. We have more friends. So here, CPQ is tracking the position of the player and the rotation of the player, as well as the pitch, which is the up and down. But we'll get into that later. So we have two buttons up. So we think we can use both, but we see that it's actually draining. During our time over there, this gauge was going down, and we actually see over time the gauge over the door and the gauge on the button goes down. So we have to use these two pumps in coordination because they're both going to be draining over time. So I need to quickly get over to the other one to try and get the gauge over the door all the way up. And we'll talk at length about this. So we did it. Excellent. So here we have this gauge, which is draining because both these pumps are draining. And we'll get to this in the overview, but this is actually this gauge here is the sum of these two pumps, right? So this pump has a value. This pump has a value, and the gauge is the sum of those two pumps. And if it's over a certain amount, i.e., the gauge is full, the door opens. And then both of these are draining over time, so that's why that's also going down. But we've access to this ramp. We have let's look at our side things. Destination for prisoner transfer. So this is a target for something. We have a grunt who is imprisoned. Let's read this. Transfer. Initiate a prisoner transfer across the yard and to the target, which we just saw. The prisoner is not allowed to harm you. Do the same for him. So he's not shooting at me. So let's open him up. Begin the prisoner transfer. And he is not shooting at me. He is just following me. So what we're doing here is modifying the behavior of an enemy to prevent them from attacking and just trying to follow me. And again, we'll get into that in the overview. But that's what's happening here. There's the other part to it where we want to get him to this target. And we're not actually doing this with any kind of collision or trigger brushes or anything. We're actually doing that with the distance to that target is being stored somewhere. And we get some cells for a reward, which we'll grab. Then we have this other side thing. Let's read this. Hope. Healing is given to only is given to only those who truly need it. Clearly some sort of healing, but my health is not low enough. Interesting. Okay, well, we'll come back to that when we have low health. But here we have some breaks. I'm gonna grab the health just so at some point I can go get the other thing. Interesting. We have some knights and a blade of some sort that is moving where we are. Let's read the note. Damocles, put these ancient prisoners out of their misery. Your rise is their fall. So the blade is tracking our position. Not at the same speed, but it's going where we are pretty reliably. And if we jump, the hint to the on the console, the blade falls. And we can presume that if they're all dead, this door will open. Excellent. We'll take care of these enforcers. Yes, we do have the super shotguns. We can make some short work of them. Or long work of them. Okay. I am pretty beat up. Let's go see if this is low enough health to open up the thing. Up the side piece. It is. Severe damage detected, and we have some health packs and some more cells. We'll grab the cells. Let's go back to exploring this room here. So this is kind of like a main hub room, as we see. I mentioned the bigger map before. These two side passages were to two wings of the map, but those aren't going to be here. Those are closed off, hence the red light. So we'll clear the room, and we'll look at these red consoles a little bit later. So we have a lift here. The lift says the shadows beckon from below, which is an interesting hint to how we might use that lift later. Let's keep looking around. So we have a side thing there. Let's go look at this main door here. We have a big battery-looking thing and a readout. One of the things that this map is intended to showcase outside of the logic that you can implement are the types of ways to read out the data that we're storing. We saw that there's a gauge here, and these are all different methods that CPQ uses to show data. Here it's a very basic kind of Boolean turning brushes to, if you see animated brushes in Quake, it's the A or the O part of the texture. It's on or off. These are just turning these off or on based off of the data. A second type of readout here is this digital readout, where it actually is taking a number. And let's see, more power. To open this door, the battery requires 56 volts to operate. Bring that many cells to the battery and they will be transferred. So we see right now that we have 46 cells. And if we go up to the battery, it's actually taking them one by one and storing them in this battery. So we'll do this. I don't think we'll quite have 56. So we'll have 47, and it says 56 volts are required. So we need to find some more cells. And that will just stay there. So that's showing off a couple things. One, how we're incrementing a value, and that we can take that from the player in terms of ammo. As you can imagine, there are other ways to take things from players. So let's find some more cells here. Come back to that in a little bit. I'm basically going to show off the main progression things and then show off the side progression things. So we have this. So I'm actually going to stay here for a little bit. We see that we're getting armor if we stand here. I'm going to kill one of these guys. Our armor is being reset to 200, giving us very high damage mitigation. But the second we leave, we lose it. It gets it back to 0. So that's kind of showing how we can set values for the player. There, we're setting their armor every X seconds to 200, and then once they leave that area, we take the armor away. We'll get some cells up there. Okay, I'm gonna go grab those. The shadows are still beckoning from below. That should be enough to get us to the door. Oh yes, more than enough. So it needs 47. 56, the door opens. Let's get to the side stuff first, though. We're not gonna be able to get to what's in the lift till a bit later, but let's actually look around the room here at the information we're given. So we have these red consoles, and this is 6-. Okay, we saw the other red console on the other side, so we'll go check that out. Didn't mean to fall in there. And this is -L, so we have 6L, which kind of sounds like those coordinates that we were looking at on the map. So perhaps we have a secondary coordinate we can put in next time we get to our ship. The other thing we want to look at is under here. We have their console. Sacrifice. In the pit, you must bleed 50 pints, then proceed. So it's saying that we want to bleed 50 pints, which we can sort of extrapolate to maybe mean 50 health. So we don't actually want to... We probably shouldn't shoot him since we need him to deal damage to us. Which he does. So we are rewarded with a mega health for doing that. So there we're tracking how much damage a player is taking in a given instance. So let's clear out these enforcers, and then we'll look at these consoles. Okay. So we have a console here. -1 ... Okay, so we got a 5-digit number that we're trying to figure out. -0. So -1 -0. So -12 -0, 312 -0, 31220. And surprise, surprise, we have a key code input here. And as we know, we can, yes, we actually have a thing here for that. Access code. To proceed, you will need to enter the proper access code, fragments of which can be found on other consoles, which we were just looking at. If you make a mistake entering the code, you can just start over with the first entry. So, as we can see, we can start putting in numbers here. It seems to happen. We can presume this will give us access to this door. So let's actually put in the actual numbers. So 31220. Access granted. So obviously there we're showing two things. Three things. Three, the alternate way of doing the number display that we can additively add to a value. So we're sort of like a calculator where we're entering numbers kind of one by one, and it pushes the previous numbers to the left. And also that we're able to do that through buttons, and we could ostensibly have all the numbers, but I thought it was easier just to do 4 numbers here and not have to put all 10 and find a way to put those in a way that looks nice. Before we proceed down this scary corridor, we're going to look at what else is down here. A teleporter. Doesn't seem to work, but we have a button connected to it. Connection to ship teleporter established. And we're back. So now that we know that 6L is potentially a thing to try, so let's go put that in. So it's cool here is that you could put like each of these coordinates could potentially be a new place on the map, which is a very cool, like as many as you want, right? It's a very cool prospect. So we put it in, alternate landing confirmed. We are now put in the side passage, which ends up being a secret part of the map in the main hub room. And we are tracking secrets. We're at 4 out of 5 right now. We're about to see the 5th secret. So in that lift down there, we saw that it mentions that the shadows beckon from below. So now that we have the Ring of Shadows, let's try and use this lift again. So yes, this lift is now going down once we have the Ring of Shadows. So here we're demonstrating that changing what is effectively the angle of the door or of the lift. It's going down instead of up now because we have a certain item. Press it again. It goes down, and we'll see once it goes up. And we'll press it again. Now that we don't have the Ring of Shadows, it goes back to being up. So changing the state of lifts and doors based off of player inventory is a CPQ feature that I think is very powerful. So let's go back to the final part of the map, the lightning gun. We have two consoles here. The final encounter. We're already to the end here. The objective of your mission lies beyond this corridor. The renegade AI named Democles. To defeat it, you must reduce its defenses to overload its 3 capacitors. Use the lightning gun, which we now have, and target the exposed cells to damage the system. Recharge your weapon at the battery when it's available, and look out for what Democles will throw at you. And then we have a biosuit for a successful prisoner transfer, but we're not going to grab that. We'll just leave that there for now. So what this is going to be is this is a quote-unquote boss encounter. Using multiple pieces of the CPQ system, I think the longest part of the overview will be going through how this boss fight is set up. But for now, we're just going to play through it and prepare to face Democles. He is not Democles, he's just an enforcer. So we have a massive entity in the wall here, with a gauge in the middle, 3 squares up top, and these cells that keep popping open. The console told us to shoot the energy cells with our lightning gun, so let's do that. As soon as one pops up, I can... So we're shooting it, and the gauge is going down. Just to be clear, shooting it with anything else, other than the lightning gun, does not do anything. This we can... yeah. Nothing. So again, we're showing weapon-specific damage filtering, basically. So we shoot it with lightning gun, gauge goes down. This is pretty straightforward. We're out of cells, but we were told that we could recharge the battery. We have one here. Oh, but that... okay, yep. So that will go away for now, and we don't want to fall. So let's continue this process. Pretty straightforward. Nice and leisurely. Run out of cells, get some more. Shoot the cells. Second phase, okay. So, oh. Okay, so now we have this platform that's routinely trying to push us off the side into the acids. Now we have a bit more challenge here, and we're on the second phase, we can see, because the lights are changing up there. Nope, needs more ammo. Oop, overjump that. And we need... where's the other one? Oh, yep. Good. Oh, yep. That's... good thing we had the armor. Oh, so we're in the final stage now. We got some nice red light for drama. If we were doing a soundtrack, this would be a good time to have it kick in. And now we actually, just to show off, these energy cell plates have some exposed plating above them, and if we actually shoot that, we get damaged a little bit. So you need to be more accurate when you shoot these. Okay, so we need more... nope, yep, it's being pushed. So this was not intended to be super difficult. There are definitely some axes that you could, or some knobs you could tweak to make this a lot more difficult. It's been defeated. Return to your ship to depart. So we will go do that. So yeah, this is more of a giant demonstration of the pieces that you could use to build an encounter. There's lots of things to tweak in there, and we're going to go over that in the overview when we review the boss fight. But we've killed Democles. Can go back to our ship. And mission complete. Jump drive ready. Excellent. So that's CPQ Showcase. showing off some of the features of CPQ, just kind of demoing how you could use them in a map to both gate progression, give cool secrets, a way to give items to players in a unique way. Do puzzles is a big part of it. It's really good for puzzles. So yeah, and that's a beta version of the map. I'm going to be releasing the beta version of that for playtesting in a couple days if people are interested to try it out on their own, get some feedback. But that wraps up the first part of the video. We will now go into a overview of CPQ, and then we will go through that showcase map again in the editor and explain basically how they were all set up, so people can, get a good sense of how they can leverage CPQ to do some cool logic in their maps. So let's go to part 2.